So when you do squat jump to accelerate, you'll do the required number of just squat jumps and then quickly try to transition into acceleration. So if we're going to do 3 squat jumps into an acceleration, here's what it'll look like. So remember, this is your power phase, and we're going to do a plyometric push-up. So we want our power exercises to be done as explosively as possible. It doesn't have to be heavy overload, but we want to execute it as quickly as we can. So what we're going to do is a plyometric push-up. So nice regular push-up position. Let me scoot forward a little bit here. And then you're going to pop up, so it'd be kind of a clapping push-up. Or just a little hop with your hands. The thing I look for when we do that with athletes is that, you know, we don't want their body sort of doing the worm. We want them staying nice in a nice straight line, able to stabilize that force production. So when you do the dumbbell single leg squat, again, I'm using an 18-inch plyo box. You could use a weightlifting bench. What we do in the Revolution studio is we'll set the safeties on the squat rack to a level where the athlete's thigh is parallel to the floor at the bottom, so then they'll just, you know, do their squat until their rear end lightly taps that safety bar in the power rack, if you can picture what I'm talking about. But for here, we'll use this 18-inch plyo box. I'm going to balance on one foot. I'm going to hinge at my hips. So I'm standing about 6 inches out from the front edge of the bench, and I'm going to sit back until my rear end lightly touches. So I don't want to sit down and then stand up again. So the telltale signs of cheating are if your other foot is kind of wrapping around your leg, that's cheating. If you come down but then lean forward to get up again, that's a huge cheater move. So just hinge at the hips, lightly tap, back up, nice and strong. Notice when you look head on that my knee doesn't cave in at all through the range. I'm keeping my knee in line between my hip and my ankle. Let me show you what it looks like from the side. So this is what I mean by a hip hinge. I'm just creasing at my hip and coming up again. My back stays in neutral, and by neutral I don't mean straight up and down. My torso does angle forward, it has to, but I'm not rounding my back. So we see a lot of people get in this position at the bottom, and we don't want that. We want to teach them to stabilize their torso and then use that big force from their leg. For the half kneeling bungee row, I want to be up nice and tall. And I actively try to make myself taller. And then I row my elbows a little bit to the sides, keeping my shoulders down, squeezing my shoulder blades together. What I don't want to see and what I don't want you to do is, as you row in, to extend your back. So I want you to open your chest but not extend through your back. So this is an opening step. So my one foot is pointing straight to the wall, my hips and my other foot coming out to about a 90-degree angle. That's an opening step. We're going to add to it a hip block. So what that means is that my hips are going to come around, which means I have to unlock that heel and pivot on the toe. Then I'm going to come back to my starting neutral stance, and then I'm going to open the other way, boom, but then hip block, so I have to pivot on that back toe. And I want you to pause just briefly at that point so that you're stabilizing it. I don't want it to just be kind of swinging and all around the yin yang. I want it to be here, little pause. Always staying low in the hips, always coming back to your neutral position. So your bear crawl, I want you to imagine that you could balance a bucket of water on your low back. It's opposite hand, opposite leg, same pattern going backwards. So if we do a sprint to a crossover to a sprint, and again, the distances will vary, starting at about 3 meters each length is a good way to go, but it would just be a sprint out. So I'm going to sprint, and then I'm going to stay low on my hips, cross over, whatever that distance, 3 meters is, sprint, cross over, and try to be very fluid with it. So when it's time to transition from a sprint to a crossover, it's just seamless. There isn't any hesitation. So it comes in, cross, sprint.